his teammate is the next guy, Marquise Hollywood Brown. And I want to talk a little bit about something because I put it on social media yesterday because Brady mentioned, where they can use Shakir and they want to find ways to evolve and put him on the outside and make big plays. And I think guys like Thornton and Marquise Hollywood Brown can help the Bills do that. And I mean that by, hey, okay, Shakir is now a boundary guy in 3 wide receiver set. If you put a speed element in the slot like Marquise Brown or Tyquan Thornton to lift the coverage, that's going to open up the intermediate area, the deep intermediate area for Khalil Shakir to lift the coverage, to allow him to access the middle of the field, but at a different level. Because we're used to the short stuff behind the line of scrimmage, obviously, very, very used to that. But we're not so used to seeing him access the middle of the field in that intermediate or to that deeper range. And I think guys with speed, whoever it is, whether it's in the draft or free agency, adding a speed element that can bump inside to add a vertical threat to open up things for Khalil Shakir, I think these type of guys would pay huge dividends to adding the versatility and getting the ball to Shakir at different levels of the field.
Yeah, instead of putting Shakir on the outside and having him, run one of the double Chinas and then have Dalton Kincaid run the option from the inside and then kind of like, oh, okay, that's it. Yeah, I think that's a super fair point. That field stretching element can present in multiple ways. And I've thought of it more from like, oh man, like to let Josh Palmer breathe a little bit more and Dalton Kincaid breathe a little bit more. But that's a fair point for Shakir. Like, get him the ball in some space over the middle of the field and let him juke and break tackles and turn into a running back when he gets the ball in his hands. That's a very fair presentation as well. And again, another breadcrumb from that presser yesterday and Brady talking about it and making specific reference to, we don't always have to get him the ball in those short areas. Really something I think a lot of Bills fans are clamoring for, and maybe the Bills even recognize in-house.
Yeah, here's some of that vertical element. You saw it from the slot earlier. Here's one versus single high as a boundary guy snapping off this deep V route. We call this a deep V, where you're kind of attacking the post and then breaking out away from the post safety. And you see that separation on Benford there, unfortunately, against the Bills. And you see that a bunch from him. So, again, that vertical slot. Here he is in the slot right here. Look how he uses and abuses Kalen Bullock, the safety for the Texans. And this is, again, underthrown. If this is thrown on the line, this is a touchdown. This is a touchdown. And so he can do it as a boundary guy or a slot guy and attack those two high safety structures, run those bender routes down the middle of the field. And if the safeties stay on the hashes, boom, you have a big play down the middle versus a nickel corner or a deep dropping middle linebacker. If they're in single high, well, guess what? He has the ability from the slot to, take that post safety with him so that Shakir can come and follow him on a deep dig route, a dagger type concept. You adding that vertical element, that speed element can just help the Bills offense, obviously. But I think a lot of people are just thinking of it from the perspective of like, hey, we just want passes outside the boundary. No, it's going to open up other roles and other areas of the field that teammates for these guys can access, like Shakir, like Palmer, like Kincaid and others.
Yeah, I would love somebody who can run past people and make big catches downfield, like with high air yards and all that stuff. But again, the type of verbiage like I keep going back to is field stretching. And I just want field stretching. I want someone with speed who doesn't mind running for the love of the game routes. Like, clear some stuff out and let's get those guys underneath and in the intermediate some more space. And Hollywood Brown still has that speed. We looked at him last year at this time.
Yeah,
ironically, he was one of our wide receiver targets again.
That's
so
right.
we're kind of going back to the playing the hits here in the Cover One film room, but he's still got that speed. It's still very real. And again, the Bills still need that element. And yeah, I think that's a good point about Shakir. If you want to kind of open things up a little bit, or even, again, that threat and that presence to be able to get the ball quickly to Shakir, but maybe instead of a single high alignment with a down safety, it's a two high structure because they're afraid of getting beat over the top. And now when you spit it out to Shakir around the line of scrimmage, he has more space to work.
Yeah, I mean, here's that two high safety structure in the red zone. You get a Mike matched up against Marquise Brown. You see that he's got two drops in the last 2 years. 2 drops in the last 2 years. Look at the boundary awareness and concentration along the back line here.
That's a great catch.
Dude, it's amazing. That is amazing. And so he's a very reliable guy. when you're talking, especially for the bang for your buck factor, right? You know,
Uh-huh,
he's
uh-huh.
projected in the $6.5 million range by PFF, 5.5 for a spot track. My one liner for him is only a 28-year-old elite speed specialist and
Wow.
technician who wins with upper echelon acceleration and refined boundary awareness. While his separation win rates have dipped into the lower percentiles against both man and zone, he remains a high floor Z or slot option with excellent concentration and a 2% drop
Mhm.
rate that provides reliable explosive potential. He's a very well-rounded guy that could be added to the Bills room where you could get your bang for your buck, but
Mhm.
open up other roles for players in that wide receiver room.
Yeah, he's someone who I just hope stays in the bang for your buck. Like, I'm gonna go back to last year and Tutu Atwell, who I think actually we had as a target in the film room as
Yes,
well,
last year,
right?
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he got a 1-year deal with the Rams, but it was 10 mil. And I was like,
Yeah.
damn, like Tutu Atwell, like that was when I remember seeing the Palmer contract. I thought Palmer got paid more than I wanted him to get paid, but then it was also like, what do you expect? Like Tutu Atwell just got $10 million on a
Right.
1-year deal. Like, I hope if
And did
Brown can,
nothing this year. So
that
maybe
is
that
fair.
maybe that brings that floor down.
Hopefully, yeah, kinda pulls lets the air out of that balloon a little bit for the wide receiver market. Yeah, if Brown can stay in that affordable range around that 5 to 6 mil, cool. The closer he gets to double digits, I feel like then the bang for your buck starts to dissipate a little bit.
So
But that wide receiver market is so weird.
it's so weird. And last year, 49 receptions, 587 yards, 5 touchdowns. So, when you're talking that bang for your buck range, I think if you're still, even if you pay him that Atwell contract, 10 mil, 8 to 10 mil is still not a major wide receiver contract. Now it's probably, again,
Mhm.
probably only a year contract. But he was still very, very steady. And again, I think Mahomes in a down year also missed some things where the production could have been even been better.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because even versus let's see, he's only 5'9", so he's a smaller guy, but again, he's got that speed and acceleration still. That I think would be a nice role, obviously, to add to the Bills wide receiver.